I'm Jasper. I'm 25 years old. I first discovered my love for media and communications through English. I've been studying it since I was 17 years old. I'm a very sensitive person. I have an interest in people, knowing how people's mind works, knowing how people work together, and just creating good experiences for people. That's what I love to do.
Talk about those difficulties that you mentioned of being in the Bahamas in this particular industry.
Well, I can only speak about COB because that's where I'm at. And one of the things that is the hardest to deal with is thinking about, oh, where am I going to find work after this? And having people ask you, oh, what you want to do with that? You want to go work for ZNS? You want to go work for Cable 12? I don't want to do either of those things unless I really, really have to, or really, really need to, or really, really want to. Who's to say that I can't make a niche for myself?
I would tell myself that I was right. And because it's still difficult as a creative to find work, like paid, fulfilling work, doing exactly what you love in the Bahamas. We've come a long way from, I think that was like, what, 4 years ago when I did that interview? We've come a long way in certain aspects, but at the same time, we still have a long way to go. Like, we need more associations, we need more opportunity, and we need more money to be pumped still into the creative industries. We're seeing a bunch of people that kind of understand what they would like to do more, but there's still a disconnect between these people, the creatives, and the business side of things. When I was still in college, a lot of people came to me, and this was when I was still meeting people from the film industry, and all of them had the same complaint. Everyone just was tired of being like separate and not understanding exactly how to get people to work together and why things weren't happening in the way that they wanted them to happen. So I questioned, and I was like, well, if somebody wants to make a guild, or if everyone has the same idea, why hasn't it been done? Like, why has no one actually taken the first step and made a place where people can get together? And then I was like, why don't I think it was like a Sunday or a Saturday, I was sitting on my computer because I was just always there. And I was like, why don't I just make a Facebook group? Why don't I just dump all the people that I have as friends who are filmmakers into this group? And at first, I think it was something like 85 people. And I was like, this is good. I'm fine with this. Like, this is enough people. And then it just kept growing and more people kept coming and I started to get scared. I was like, how do I manage all of this? Is this because it became a real life thing so quickly? Shortly after the group was formed, I started having these events called Creative Connect. And it wasn't only intended for filmmakers, because I realized the need that filmmakers would have for other creatives too, like art directors, clothing designers, creative writers, all these kinds of people. The group expanded, and one day it was 1,800 and something people, and that blew my mind because I didn't even know we had that many people with an interest in film in the country. Like, that was intense for me, and it really made me realize the power of two things: social media and actually getting things done. I think I just like to find things that people connect on. I think we have too much division, like, in the world at large. Like, we always are trying to label ourselves and label each other and do all kinds of things. But if we can't work together and make, beautiful things, like, there are people who have made, I think it was earlier this year and late of last year, a recycling project that used thousands of plastic bottles to make mermaid sculptures. What kind of crazy person thinks of that? And it was 100 and something people on this team, I think it was. And it was this one photographer leading the way. And I was like, how did you get all of these people to take plastic bottles out of the garbage and do this thing with you for free? Like, how is this working? Creating BAFA and taking it on, it comes with a lot of challenges. Number one being personalities. You have a lot of different people that are involved, a lot of people who felt like they knew better than me, which they do. I never would doubt that for a minute. Like, that was a snot-nosed kid. Where did I come from? I just came out of nowhere and just did this thing and just appeared. They had been trying to do things like this for a very long time, before I even was out of high school. So I guess that's two of the things. One being personalities and the other one being my age. The third one being money. You know, I'm a kid, like, where am I gonna find all this funding from? And doubt would be the fourth biggest one, because doubting, like, myself, doubting my ability to do all these things, doubting people who are gonna help me, like, will I actually receive any assistance with this, you know? It's an everyday struggle. Like the Biggie song, it's an everyday struggle, my G. So, in anything creative that you want to make money from, there has to be a business aspect. And I personally feel that the artist shouldn't have to deal with that, like, especially not on their own. Like, they are always gonna need a person who's there to be the suit for them. Like, you could be covered in paint and, like, just all over the floor having a mental breakdown in your own time. And someone needs to be in the office or some financial service, like, fighting for you to get, like, your next paycheck, you know? And it's a disconnect. I think that's where the disconnect largely is, because we have a lot of people who are very talented and a lot of people who have seen and experienced an industry abroad but aren't quite sure how to mold a business model for what needs to function in 21st century Bahamas and into the future. And right now I feel like I'm digging through mud with a shovel, like, not even solid ground. I feel like not even, like, okay, imagine a graveyard in the middle of the night and it's raining all the time. That's how I feel. Just trying to get to the bottom of things, like, how can I possibly work through all of the trouble, all of the recession, to form a new thing, a wholly, entirely new business model where people can work and it can be the template for all creative industries here. Someone has to speak the language for both parties to be able to educate both parties. And why that's me, I don't know. If that's me, okay, I'm fine with that. But I think it's definitely the source of the disconnect, for sure. I made a transition into music because it had been something that I was thinking about for like a year or two. It was just nagging me. Just, you know that feeling when you have something that's just at the back of your brain just nagging you, just be like, you should do this. Maybe you should do this. And it was right after I came back from Full Sail, and someone had started talking to me about artist management. And I don't know why. I still, for the life of me, cannot figure out why that person had come to me and asked me the question. I think it had something to do with me having worked with Elevation Media for a while and getting to understand how a record label works and how a studio operates and learn a little bit more about sound. But I love music, and I love the music industry here just as much as I love the film industry. Like, both of them are equally as profitable, both of them are equally as invested in what they're doing. I don't know everything, but it's my hope that, you know, we can create more knowledge and just better content and just see more of what we have inside of ourselves just come out, just the Bahamian potential. Like, we are so close to the United States. We are nowhere near as big as them. But I feel like our spirit is just as big as theirs. Because we are human, we are people. And I think a lot of times we take it for granted that we have what we have, like we are where we are now. And we tend to look on the negative side and focus on how difficult it is over what you can do with what you have, you know. So all I can ever do is just work with what I have. And hopefully in the future you could continue to see great things from me, even greater as more money comes into me, because my only issue right now is money. I don't have other problems. But yeah, I'm just looking towards the future, and I will continue to look towards the future because that's where we're going.